Let's get to JJ. This is where we get the asterisks. JJ McCarthy, not really a rookie, but is a rookie in the sense that he played no meaningful football last year. He secures QB1. Jori, how are we feeling about JJ McCarthy now that we've gotten this far into the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best things JJ McCarthy has going for him is, remember who he's going out to play with? The Justin Jeffersons of the world, the Jordan Addisons, an offensive line that has really been bolstered. And oh, by the way, he has easily a top 5 play caller, and you can argue who's a better play caller, quarterback developer than Kevin O'Connell. I don't think there's anyone definitively better at identifying talent, developing talent, and calling plays for said talent. I think you could say, oh, Kyle Shanahan, great play caller, but he wanted Trey Lance. He lucked into Brock Purdy. So, I mean, you know that I've gone off on that tangent quite a bit on this show. But I think that when you look at J.J. McCarthy, you could first of all say the biggest threat to J.J. McCarthy starting week 1 was if the Vikings ended up falling for Aaron Rodgers, and they didn't. And so that is a big deal for them. And now that Aaron Rodgers is with the Steelers, J.J. McCarthy doesn't need to be looking behind his back. I don't really think that Kevin O'Connell created an environment where he had to anyway, but I do think that that is something that clearly Aaron Rodgers was trying to make happen because he understood the strength of the roster in Minnesota and the strength of the play caller. Kevin O'Connell, when he was talking, just talked a lot about during OTAs, hey, it's the 10,000 hour rule. 10,000 hours, you start to become an expert in something. And again, we've talked about this with the other quarterbacks around the league and how much do they have that mental bait to draw upon when they're looking at defenses. I will say, if you're a quarterback and you're trying to be exposed to some pretty wild defenses right away, even in the spring, going against Brian Flores' defense is definitely going to get you exposed to different things. Even Kevin O'Connell, there were some things during OTAs and he's like, what in the world is Flo doing? And that's what you want. I mean, I wrote a story last year about Sean McVay intentionally calling unscripted practices against guys with the Rams because he wanted to make sure that he as a play caller and his players in the heat of the game were ready to respond. And so I think that it is going to take some time. I do think we have questions. I know when we were talking about the NFC North not long ago, and I was talking about the benefit of stability that the Green Bay Packers had, I still have questions about how long it will take JJ McCarthy to catch up. But I also, and also, if you believe that your best way to win with JJ McCarthy as quarterback is to lean heavily on the run game, well, are you really taking advantage of your best offensive asset, which is clearly Justin Jefferson? I don't know. But I do think that, as we've been talking about, I like the way the Vikings are going about their process, even though I'm not yet sure what results it will lead to.
I'm very bullish on JJ McCarthy and the Vikings. I think that it's weird how, we talked about this, how the market especially thinks that the Vikings are just going to fall off and be under 500. Why? Because Sam Darnold is that good? Or is it the environment? Well, you talked about it, Jori. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. They have a good running game with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones had a heck of a season last year. And I like their process of, okay, we're going to let Sam Darnold go because we trust JJ McCarthy. I never bought any of the Aaron Rodgers stuff. I think they talked to him fine. He's Aaron Rodgers. Kevin O'Connell wanted to bring him in and see what's up. And I don't think they were ever serious because all of their offseason moves were with a very specific plan in mind of, we drafted this guy 10th overall. We traded up to draft him 10th overall. We are going to trust him and build around him on his rookie deal. We're going to bolster the interior offensive line, which they did a great job with, I thought. We are going to bring back Aaron Jones, who had that great season. We're going to make the environment around JJ even better so he can succeed. Like you said, great play caller, great team around him. This team went 14-3 last year. And unless you believe Sam Darnold is just that dude now, which maybe he is, maybe we'll see in Seattle, but I think it's the environment. And I think that JJ McCarthy steps in. I think he has a great season. I don't think they try to hide him in any way because even though he didn't get the practice all last year on injured reserve and stuff, he's around. He's soaking up the information. As long as he's healthy, that's the only thing. Can he stay healthy? He's got to prove that now. But I think he's played enough high-level football at Michigan, and the Vikings obviously trusted him. You have to love a guy to trade up and draft somebody 10th overall. I think JJ McCarthy is going to have a great year, and I think the Vikings are going to have a great year. I see no reason to think there's that big of a downgrade from Sam Darnold to JJ McCarthy. Why would I? JJ McCarthy was very highly thought of by the Vikings when they did that in the draft last year. I think he pays off. I think that they're really going to be happy with what they decided to do, letting Sam Darnold go and just going forward, JJ McCarthy.
So, Frank, I want to ask you, when you say you think that the Vikings are going to have another great year, how would you define a great year for them? Because I think that even Justin Jefferson was talking during OTAs and saying, look, since Justin Jefferson got there, since Kevin O'Connell got there, they've been really strong in the regular season, but they have not had the playoff success and obviously didn't win a playoff game last year. So when you say great season, what are you expecting from them, not only in their record, but also in terms of any playoff advance?
And that's the thing. Playoffs is such it's a one and like to pull back the curtain. I'm doing this top 25 teams of the quarter century for a couple weeks from now. Almost half of the teams on that list didn't win a Super Bowl. There are 10 teams, not to go down a rabbit hole here, but of the last 25 seasons, there are 10 teams that had a point differential of 200 or more. You know how many of those teams won a Super Bowl? 0. It's just a one and done playoff format. Sometimes leads to wonky results. I try not to put too much emphasis in, well, the Vikings didn't win a playoff game, so that wasn't a successful season. Or the Giants 3 years ago won a playoff game, so they're great and they're on the rise.
Frank, you do not take that approach to the Cowboys.
No, I do. I try to. Like, I do. I try to take that. I don't overreact.
And the Cowboys went 12-5 3 straight years, and they had some playoff success in winning in the wild card round, but not the divisional round. Did you feel like it was a good season the way that you feel like the Vikings' no playoff wins has been a good season?
It's just, it depends, because getting boat raced by the Packers at home, no, that's a bad way to end it. Losing at the 49ers the year before that, it's like, all right, well, the 49ers are the better team. Like, you just run up against good teams sometimes. So I don't want to sit here and say the Vikings don't win a playoff game, it's not a successful season, because who knows? They play in a very, what did they play the Eagles in the first round?
Right, they go up against Philly. The Eagles, yeah.
So I think just making it back to the playoffs of the toughest division in the NFL would be a really good season for the Vikings, because nobody expects anything of them right now. They're under win totals 8.5. People think they're going to be a 500 team. Like, I think that for them to make it back to the playoffs and get to the end of the season and be like, we just won 11 games, or JJ McCarthy, he's still got another couple of years before he really starts to cost us any money. We could keep building this thing. I don't think it's out of the question the Vikings can win that division. Like, why not? Like, they were 14-2 going into the finale last year. I
have no idea what's going to happen with that division.
Yeah, that division's going to be wild. Speaking of that division, should be noted, the Vikings open with the Bears. They do not play another divisional opponent until they play the Lions in week 8. So you talk about like some of the scheduled things that are there for them. They've got the Falcons, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Browns in consecutive weeks. Like there's an opportunity for JJ to get his feet under him before they even get to those division.
And
matches.
I guess my only thing is, why do we think JJ McCarthy won't be good? Like, why? Like he's stuck in such a great environment. He was a highly drafted guy in a draft class we've seen have success. Like, I don't, for anybody hating on JJ McCarthy, being like, I don't know about JJ McCarthy. Why? Like, why would we not think he can succeed where Sam Darnold did? I guess that's my only point. I think McCarthy's going to be really, really good. And by the end of the year, we're going to be like, wow, we're going to be thinking about JJ McCarthy at this time next year like we're thinking about Bo Nix right now.
Yeah, we got to move on. Like, I don't know.
Why not?
We just haven't seen any of it. Like, they're even telling me go back to Michigan. Like, was he the reason Michigan won a lot of football games? He was good. He was good at Michigan.
He's very efficient. But that's just Jim Harbaugh didn't want to play that way. And you know Jim Harbaugh. Like, you watch a college game more than me. But Jim Harbaugh wants to run the ball. He wants to never if Jim Harbaugh never passed the ball, I think he'd be a happy man. Like, if he could win every game, but going back to 1923 football, he'd be a happy man. So I don't
disagree with that.
When JJ had to make plays, he did.
I don't disagree with any of that, but I can't change my opinion of the minute he was drafted. The minute he was drafted, I was like, who the hell knows? Like, we haven't seen him do any of what he would be asked to do. Like, we just haven't seen enough to know. So I'm still in the very unknown process with him. All right,